Hi, everyone. Welcome to Digital Champions. I'm your host, Charlene Shirk, where we speak to some of the most innovative thinkers in the digital space. And joining us today is Ashwath Narayanan from Socail Currant. Thanks so much for joining us today, Ashwath.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
So let's talk about Socail Currant, because you really focus on the marketer of influencers. And I think everybody wants to learn more about how this whole works.
For sure. Yeah, happy to share more. Just to give you a quick insight into what we do, we're a creative agency based out of DC. We help brands connect with influencers to get on platforms like TikTok more effectively, to reach Gen Z. What we really found out in all of our work is that influencers have a highly connected audience, and we want to make sure that brands can make use of that audience to, whether it's market a product, drive sales to a website, drive email signups. We want to make sure that, they're using that influencer audience to meet their goals. And so that's why for us, influencer marketing is kind of where we see the future of marketing.
And Ashwath, let me ask you, because so many people talk about how you need to have authenticity in the voice of your brand. And some folks are like, but if you have an influencer, that's not really an authentic voice for your brand. So how do you find that balance between making sure that you've got a great spokesperson who's getting the word out, but making sure that spokesperson is really genuine to your brand?
That's a really good question, and I think it's a mixture of quantitative and qualitative things. I think, making sure that that influencer is in the same industry as your brand, making sure that they're creating content that aligns with your values, your mission, the work you do, I think is the main thing, making sure that you both are on the same page. And then I think another step beyond that is making sure they're sold into whatever you're selling, making sure they're bought in first. I think, having an onboarding process where you're talking to them face to face, speaking with them around the content, I think is one important thing that we do for our clients, and we incorporate into our influencer marketing process. And then when it comes to authenticity with platforms like TikTok, another thing is, you don't want to do a direct to camera video. You don't want to do something very non-TikTok or non-Instagram Reels or non-short form. And so we also emphasize working with influencers and building in trends that are on the platform, building in trends that are on, the influencers' videos and influencers, TikTok itself. And so I think authenticity is making sure that, you're both on the same page, and then making sure you're really fitting in with TikTok as a whole as well.
So it sounds like you work with both the brand as well as the influencers to make sure that they are promoting the brand correctly. Well, that's certainly two different groups that you're dealing with. What's the biggest challenge that you find maybe in working with either group?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges, which is why we exist, is that disconnect. I think often we're working with influencers who are younger in comparison to our brands who are older. And our brands may not be on TikTok as users themselves. Their organization may be on it, but they're not consuming content. And so often we might have an influencer do a trend, and a brand is like, "What is this? We don't understand this." And so I think our biggest challenge is trying to bridge the gap between the two, to make sure that the brand understands the influencer, but also to make sure the influencer understands the brand, because often we may work with brands that may be complicated and may have complicated messaging. And so we really serve as the bridge between the two. And so yeah, that's what I would say is a challenge that we're actively trying to fix as well.
Now, you said, sometimes the message is complicated, but yet you specialize in short form content like TikTok, for example. How do you get those complicated messages out in that short form?
Yeah, so that's really where our team comes in, and we look at our team, and our team is really the first kind of target audience for the brand. And so when we're speaking and connecting with brands, we're going over that information to make sure that we understand it. And so in that process of them explaining it to us, for us to understand it, we get the concept, and then we're able to use that, that broken down concept that we have to explain it to the influencer in a much easier way. And so it's really, doing levels of breaking down videos and levels of breaking down concepts and explanations.
Okay, now before I let you go, I want to know, TikTok kind of started and then boom, took over. So what are you seeing coming up on the horizon in the next couple of years that folks in your space need to be watching for?
Yeah, I would say short form video is here to stay. I think short form video is going to be the main focus for the next few years. I think whether that's TikTok, Reels, Snapchat, or YouTube Shorts, I think short form video is going to be very important. I think maybe not the next few years, but maybe, the next 10 years, I'm curious to see whether short form audio starts popping up. I think we have a lot of long form audio right now. We have podcasts, we have Clubhouse come up, we have, Audible, things like that. We have a lot of long form audio, but I haven't seen enough short form audio yet. And so maybe that's something I think will be relevant.
Oh, Ashwath, we could pick your brain all day long, but that's going to do it for us today. Thank you so much for making the time to be on Digital Champions.
Thank you so much for having me. And yeah, thank you.
Oh, our pleasure. Unfortunately, sometimes you don't want to do short form. You want to do long form. We could pick your brain all day. Well, thanks so much for being here. And if you'd like to learn more about what Socail Currant is doing, I know I do. You can check them out on dailyadbrief.com. Well, that's going to do it for us on Digital Champions. I'm your host, Charlene Shirk. We look forward to learning something new with you next time.